Hey everybody, welcome back to Home in Progress, sponsored by RepcoLite Paints and Benjamin Moore. Now, if your kitchen cabinets are dated, dinged, maybe just plain tired, then this episode's for you. We're going to be breaking down the two fastest, most budget-friendly paths to a fresh look in the kitchen: refinishing your cabinets and refacing them. We're going to talk about what each one costs, how they differ, and how long you'll actually be living without doors. I'll walk you through the process from that first photo-based quote that you get online, to color and hardware choices, all the way to the final product. Joining me all through this episode is Shelly Kuper from Shelly's Kitchens and Designs, a 3-generation team with a dedicated spray booth, a robotic sprayer, pretty cool stuff, that lays down the same film build every single time, and a low-odor water-based system that's known for incredible durability. If you've got an 80s or 90s oak kitchen and you're wondering what the grain would look like painted, or if you've just got a tired kitchen and you're wondering how good it could look, or maybe you're just thinking about swapping out some hard-to-reach base cabinets for deep drawers, if any of that's in your mind, stay tuned. Shelly's got clear answers and a bunch of great tips. All right, with all of that in front of us, let's jump in. Shelly, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's start here. How, before we get into the actual work and what all of that looks like and what you guys do, let's just start here. How long have you been doing kitchen cabinets, bathroom cabinets, stuff like that? And, what drew you into this in the first place?
We have been doing cabinets as our specialty for about the last 15 years. Before that, I've been decorating in one way or another for a really long time. Started out hanging wallpaper. Repco would give my name out all the time for wallpaper hanging. Went from that to painting, and then to doing furniture. And then I lost my free labor, a.k.a. teenage boys.
Oh, yep.
How dare they? They moved away. And furniture was a little heavy to move myself.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I had started getting a lot of phone calls from people saying, well, if you can do furniture, why can't you do my kitchen cabinets? So it was a nice transition. I did not need strong teenage boys to help me move cabinets, and just really got into that. Ended up purchasing a spray booth so we could really do things the right way. And last year we purchased a robotic spraying system. But I'm probably jumping ahead of myself.
Then that's fine. We're going to get into all of that.
Okay.
It's so interesting. It's not... Well, we'll get into that.
Okay.
It's not often that we run into exactly the setup that you've got. You've got a pretty unique setup.
We do.
So you've been doing this for quite a while. I know that you're in the process. I don't know much about it. I think you're in the process of handing the reins over to your daughter.
Yes.
And her husband, right?
Yes.
So what role are you playing in the business at this point? Are you still in it?
You know what? I love what I do. And at some point, I'll walk away, but I truly enjoy it. My role right now is I meet with people when they decide to proceed. I measure for counters if they want new counters. I help with color selection, hardware, all of that. I'm a people person. I love it. Mm-hmm. So, for right now, I am sticking around. Amanda and Jason are going to be absolutely fabulous. Jason has brought a whole new scope of work that we're able to do that we weren't able to do before. And they actually have 3 kids. So the kids help at the shop as well. They will load things onto, I'm going to call it the conveyor belt for our robotic spraying system, and it goes through there. It's all magically sprayed. It comes out the other end. So my 15-year-old granddaughter and 13-year-old grandson are there helping as well. So we're really 3 generations working there right now. But
really, really cool.
Yeah, really, I think really so cool. Too.
All right. So let's talk about, refinishing. That's what I want to start with.
Okay.
The refinishing process. And your website says, say goodbye to expensive, inconvenient kitchen remodels. Experience your dream kitchen quickly. Walk us through the sequence, day by day if possible. And I'll kind of lead you through what I'm looking for. But I want to give people an idea for what this looks like. That's a pretty big claim. Experience your dream kitchen quickly. Say goodbye to expensive, inconvenient kitchen remodels. Let's talk about that. And, what does the process look like? Let's start with that estimate or quote. How do we start that process, get you out, get a price, and all of that. Is that something that we just send photo? How does that part work?
I believe in keeping things really, really simple. So what we have done is we have a very short form on our website. So Dan, if you wanted your dated oak cabinets redone, you could get onto our website. You would fill out that form, name, address, phone number, how many doors and drawers, and a couple pictures. Casey is one of my office ladies. She does all the estimating. So based on that information that you send to her, she gives you a price for redoing your oak doors. If you were to say, my oak doors have arches on the top and they're raised panel and I really don't like them, but you like the footprint of your kitchen, we can also give you a price for doing new custom-made door and drawer fronts that are built locally.
Okay.
So when you request a price, Casey always gives a price based on redoing what you have, and then she will include something that basically says, new custom door and drawer fronts, this is approximately what it would be. So you can look at that and then say, I really don't like those arches. I really don't like whatever. I would like to pursue this. So we try to make it really, really simple.
So that part's super simple. I don't even have to get somebody out to the house. How quickly does that?
Casey can usually get somebody a price within 24 to 48 working hours. So if you, today is Tuesday, if you requested a price today, chances are very, very good you would have it before she's done working tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. All right. So super fast, I would have an idea where we're at.
Yep.
You mentioned that you get involved, measuring counters and stuff like that. I'm curious, does anybody help us with color consultations, hardware? RepcoLite can help people with that. I'm curious if you've got people that you use for that. What about hardware choices, things like that? You can help us walk through some of that as well.
I am glad you asked. I am actually the one, I'm going to use you for an example again.
All right.
So you say, you know what, I'm going to stick with my oak doors. I have no idea what color to paint them. And my whole house is oak. Where do I stop and start? But you do want your cabinets painted. I come out to your house at that point with probably 150 color samples. We bring those in, go over those with your current wall color. If you're keeping your counters, we want to make sure that, everything flows nicely. If you were to say, I would like new quartz counters, I would come in and measure those, request a price. Again, we work with a local company that does a fabulous job. You would then select your counters. I would come back at that point and help with color selection. When your project is done, we don't want you to look at that and think, oh my gosh, my paint for my cabinets does not match my counter. It just doesn't work.
Right.
So we really try hard to make sure that we do things the right way.
The whole thing feels coordinated and organized.
Well, and I tell people there's more color options for paint than there are counters. So let's pick out your counters first.
We always tell people that too. There's an order to doing these things. And if you follow that order, it really makes it simpler.
It does.
It's not always simple, but so often people will get their paint figured out. And then they go and now they're trying to find a couch or they're trying to find carpet or they're trying to find a counter. And like you said, there's only so many options available for the countertop or the couch or the carpet in the style you like or whatever. Paint.
What is there, like 5,500 colors just in the Benjamin Moore line?
I don't even. There's over 3,000, and that's just like you said in the line itself. We can custom match anything. I mean, it's unlimited.
Yes.
So get some of these more limited items picked first, and once you do that, it eases up the process, and that's what you help them see, help people see. You would help me see.
I would.
If I wasn't already aware.
Yes.
I'm in the studio with Shelly Kuipers from Shelly's Kitchens and Designs. We're walking our way through kind of what the process would look like for having her come out and refinish your kitchen cabinets. We just talked about the quote process. Once we got our color picked out, once we've looked at the numbers and we said, hey, this looks pretty good, I want you out here, and we get our color picked out, where do we go from there? I know you come out, I believe you come out, you remove the doors and the drawers and stuff like that. That goes to the shop. what happens with what stays in my home? Let's deal with that part first.
Okay.
The box itself. How do you get that painted? Is it just brushed and rolled? Do you spray? What do you do?
Okay. So you would get an email about a week before we were going to start from Hannah, my other office lady, and she tells you the who, what, when, not the where, because we know where the where is. It's in your kitchen.
Yeah.
And what you need to do to prepare. So you have all of that. We then set up a time to come out and demo. I sometimes do that, and sometimes Jason comes out and does that. So that just means basically taking the door and drawer fronts back to the shop with us. So our prep ladies can work on those there. And I can tell you how all of that works. But in the home, it is brushed and rolled. It is the same product. And I know we're going to get into the product, which is phenomenal. Our painter is phenomenal, and the finish is wonderful. So yes, it is brushed and rolled in the home.
What about smell, stuff like that? It's just a water-based product, right?
It is, and it's amazing. People are always nervous with a water-based product, and oak. I'll just say it how it is.
Tannins and
yes. This stuff is absolutely fabulous with preventing any tannin bleed through of any kind, which is crazy when you think about it because it's a water-based product. But
because tannin stains are water-soluble and they're sucked to the surface sometimes by a water-based coating. That's why we talk about using certain stain-blocking primers that will seal those in. Generally, oak that's varnished, a lot of the times it can be somewhat sealed, but that real open grain can really allow those tannins through, and a typical water-based product over top of that has a tendency to sometimes suck that stain through and it'll get brown, show brown staining.
But our
or something.
product is not your typical product.
Yours will block it out.
And that's
what we're talking about. That's why that's such a big deal.
It really is. Back in the day when we were using solvent-based stuff, I'd almost feel bad doing it. Like, especially in the winter, you'd want to open a window or something because the smell was so bad.
And that's what it took to block those stains in.
It did, but it doesn't anymore. And there's really one of our primers, I would say, kind of smells like spoiled glue. It's not bad, but it's not anything where you feel like your lungs are shriveling up and dying. It's low VOCs. It is a water-based product. It's amazing, truly amazing what it is able to do.
We'll talk about it in a minute, but you're using Envirolac?
We are.
All right. And it's a product we provide you with.
You do. Very excited about that.
Yeah. So we'll talk about a little more about that in a little bit.
Okay.
So you brush and roll the boxes that stay in my kitchen. Low odor. We're not worried about tannin bleed or anything like that, even if we've got oak. You said the finish looks great. It's the same product that goes on the cabinet doors.
Yes.
So that happens. Let's talk about the doors, the drawer fronts, the doors themselves.
Yes.
Those are at your shop. You mentioned the spray booth. You mentioned robots. I'm absolutely pumped about this idea. I know that
it's magical.
I can promise you what's in my head is probably not the reality. But I'd love it to be that reality. But let's talk about that spray booth and robots.
Oh, okay.
What's going on?
Well, let me talk about my prep ladies first because they are phenomenal.
Well, and we don't want to diss them.
Oh,
so
we don't.
Let's shine the light on
They do talk a lot, and I do have to laugh about it sometimes because the conversations they have are quite hilarious. Is it a weed whacker or is it a weed whipper?
Oh.
I mean, these are important questions they need to discuss.
And that's what they'll discuss while they're working?
Yes, among other things. So anyways, they do a fabulous job of prepping things, making sure that they're very, very clean, very much ready to go. Because if it's not prepped right, it's not going to hold up well. From there, it goes to our robotic spray.
Well, wait, let's just hit pause for a second.
Okay.
And you can say that line one more time. If it's not prepped well...
If it's not prepped well, the finish is not going to hold up.
I know. It's something that I think a lot of people, they can buy into that concept to some extent, but you work with this all the time. Because I talk about it all the time on the show. A lot of the time in a project, almost 85 to 90% of the work time is often
our
in the
biggest
prep.
expense is our prep ladies.
Yeah.
Because if it is not done right, it's not going to hold up. It's just not.
It doesn't, right. It's the foundation for everything that you're setting. And if it doesn't hold up, it's not just, scrape it a little bit and fix it. If the prep is poor, depending on how bad it is, you can have a monumental struggle to get back to a good foundation and get it cleaned up and ready to go again.
That is kind of a whole nother story. I can tell you with absolute certainty, our prep is never done incorrectly. These ladies do not let anything slip past them. I mean, they're very, very detailed in what they're doing. We have had numerous clients that have reached out and said, so-and-so did my cabinets for me, and the paint is chipping. It's only been a year. What can you do? At that point, a lot of times it's past the point of even being able to fix it. I mean, how do you strip an oak door with a raised panel and get all of that off so you're back to where you started and then be able to do it the right way? It is not worth it to cut corners, and we just don't cut corners.
So that's really good info, and that's info that everybody, whether you're going to hire Shelly to come out and do your cabinets, just take that info. It's coming from somebody other than me now.
Yes.
I'm not selling you anything. Shelly, you're not selling them anything. You're just telling them, take the time to prep. I know it's no fun because prepping is, and that's why they talk about weed whackers versus weed whippers.
That is exactly why. There's a bird feeder on the window so they can watch the bird. I mean, they're honestly quite hilarious listening to them. It is not an exciting job. You have to be a special person to spend your life prepping.
Oh,
they're special.
All right. So do the prep work. You guys do the prep work really well. They do a great job.
Yes.
Once it's all prepped, now it hits the spray booth and the robots get involved.
Yes. So Amanda, my daughter, had been spraying everything manually, and it basically was wrecking her shoulder. She was in once a week for a massage to try to regain feeling in it. I mean, as young as she is, you don't want a wrecked shoulder that young. So we chose to invest in a robotic spraying system. I will say I do think I had heart failure after we signed the papers and realized I had just signed my life away with what it cost. However, it is magical. It is just, I mean, I'm smiling as I think about it. It has been a game changer. So I call it an on-ramp. You have an on-ramp on one end, and then it goes into the actual spraying portion of it. It's got one, I'm going to call it head, that moves back and forth across it. And on that one head, there's 4 different sprayers. So it is hitting every little itty bitty thing. I think as it goes into the actual spraying part, there's like 1,000 little eyes that see it and say, oh, this door is 26 1/4 by 31 1/2. So it sprays what it needs to spray. It's just not spraying like crazy all over. Nope, not at all.
So you've got a video on the website. I watched that.
Amanda has been having...
I heard about the robots.
Yep.
And of course, what I want is like a humanoid robot that talks to you and moves around and brings you coffee while it's spraying stuff.
That would be nice.
It's not quite that.
No.
But it is, like you said, it almost looks like a printer head in a way or something.
It really does.
And what I noticed in that video, and I'll put a link in the show notes, and we'll give out your website and stuff so people can check this out later. But the overspray, there's overspray, but it's not just randomly spraying.
It really isn't.
So you're saving and conserving product.
Yes.
And it's really, really laser focused.
It is. Yeah. So yeah, after it's done spraying, it comes out on the other end. We put it on a rolling rack, put it in our spray booth / industrial size oven. We don't spray in it anymore for the most part. We mainly just...
That big spray booth?
Yes. But now we put it in there and we set it for 150 degrees, leave it in there for 30 to 60 minutes, take it back out. We can flip it over and do the other side.
So you're baking it in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And is that just to speed the dry time up? Is there other benefits to what you're doing?
More than anything else, it speeds the dry time up. I mean, it probably makes the finish harder, but, and I know we'll get to this, the product that we use, we add hardener to it anyway. So considered a 2K system. It's the product and the hardener mixed together. But yeah, it does dry it faster. It allows us a quicker turnaround time with things.
Now you've got, I'm assuming, of course, in that scenario, great consistency. You've got dust control.
Yes.
Right? Because I know that is something we run into, homeowners when we're doing cabinets. I did my cabinets, sprayed them in my basement once, a long time ago, and that looked great, but dust control.
Yes.
I used an oil-based product one time that I did them, and I did them all outside, and that was really great, except for I did it in early fall, so I was getting a little bit of leaves.
No.
I did not even think about that ahead of time.
Well, and it dries so slow when you have an oil-based product.
So I've got all these little leaves, and then sometimes little bugs who crawl through things. It was really annoying. That's not even normal problems, but you're way beyond that. You're not having any of that. So the finish has got to be immaculate when it comes off.
I will say, with this product that we use and the owner of the company, Steph, I cannot say enough good about him. He has been phenomenal.
That's the owner of?
Envirolac.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about that. You said it's a 2K product. That means there's 2 parts.
Yes.
You mix a hardener with it.
Let me back up just a hair, if I may. You asked about the finish that comes out of the robotic spraying system. Amanda was phenomenal with spraying. She had been doing it for years, thus the wrecked shoulder. With our robotic spraying system, Steph came out. He helped us at the show that we went to in Atlanta figure out which one was going to be the best for us. And then once it was set up, he and one of his other guys came out, spent the day out there and helped us fine-tune it and calibrate it for using Envirolac. The finish that we get from that is so insanely good. You want 5 wet mils when it is put on, and it's a robot. It is always, without fail, every single solitary time, 5 mils. A person, regardless of how good they are, and Amanda was phenomenal, they can't do that. They just plain can't. You get tired, your arm sags, you get hot, you get crabby, whatever. The robot does not mouth off. It doesn't get crabby and say, I'm done working. It doesn't get hot. It just does its thing, and it is consistent 5 mil every single solitary time. So it's pretty amazing.
So beautiful finish.
It's unbeatable.
Yeah.
It really is.
Very, very cool. You love the product. Is there anything else? I know you've got videos on your website where you're taking nail polish remover and wiping that on a door. You even use a weed whipper or a weed whacker. We're still not sure.
No, it's a weed whacker.
Okay, we've decided. All right.
I have.
Okay, you've decided. And you use that on a sample door.
Well, I'm supposed to tell you this.
Okay.
Jason, my son-in-law, said, I have to tell people it was not a pansy plug-in weed whacker. It was a man's weed whacker. It's gas-powered.
Okay, so he was using a man's
weed whacker.
Weed whacker.
Yes.
To hit this cabinet door.
Yeah.
What are you demonstrating? I know what you're doing, but people haven't seen that.
Just how durable it is.
What did you get? Because at first it looked scarred up a little bit, and then you wiped it with a rag or something, and it came all off.
It did. It was dusty. The weed whacker was dusty from being used on action.
Right. It gets used. Right?
Yeah, of course it does.
Yeah.
All he did was took a rag and wiped it down. It was fine. We do the home show in Grand Rapids. We do the one in January, and then the home and garden in February, March, whenever it is. And yes, we have a little sample door there. And my granddaughter, because again, family business, my granddaughter is making hot pink hearts on it with nail polish. And we have nail polish remover there and cotton balls for people to come by and remove the finish.
Because normally nail polish remover is going to
it will.
really damage a finish, a water-based finish for
anything.
Sure. Nothing on this Envirolac.
And we did the drawer front, our sample drawer front in navy blue on purpose. Because if you use a cotton ball with nail polish remover on it and it takes some of the finish off, if it was a white door, you won't see it.
See it on the
But if it's navy blue, you will. I have that same little drawer front that I still carry around with me. It might have a few smudges of nail polish remover on it yet, but aside from that, I show it to clients. They would never know that we used it for 2 weekends and did this to it.
No.
I want to tell you another story really quick, if I may. We did a project for a client like a year ago. She had dark gray cabinets that we did, and she reached out and said that she had a can of yellow spray paint explode in her kitchen. She sent me some pictures, and she just said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I think I'm going to need to have you redo them. And I said, all joking aside, try nail polish remover. If it doesn't work, we haven't lost anything. We still have to redo them. And she emailed me back a few days later, and she said, the nail polish remover didn't work, but I did use straight acetone on it. I know. The yellow spray paint is off, and my cabinets look great. Thank you. And all I said was, awesome. Would you leave a review for us?
Wow.
I tried posting the picture on Google. It wouldn't let me because the can in the background said acetone, and apparently Google did not like a can that said acetone. But who can do that with a finished product? And we never had to do anything, redo anything. All the yellow is gone. We have the pictures. So pretty cool.
No, that's an amazing product. That's an amazing product. So I guess we got everything painted and all of that. I'm curious about, you come back, you reinstall everything, right?
Yes.
Now we got a finished kitchen. Once we've gotten to that point, like what time has passed? What time has transpired? How long does this normally take?
If we were going to redo somebody's current cabinets and you, Dan, said, yes, please, let's do this. We generally start on a Monday just simply by taking the doors and drawers down. We're in the house, depending on the size of the project, an hour and a half. Liza then paints, most likely that same week. She is freaky fast and absolutely amazing. I don't know how she does it, but she does. And we get more compliments on Liza than anybody else. So she does a fabulous job. So depending on the size of the project, she might be in your home a day. She might be in your home 3 days. The following week, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, we come back and we put things back together. If you have done new doors, because we do the custom-made door and drawer fronts, or new counters, we start a little further in advance. Your home really isn't torn up. We're just getting in, getting measurements, getting things going. Really, the only time your home is torn apart, and I like air quote on that because it's still so usable.
Sure.
It's Monday from 1 week to Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday the following week.
So a couple weeks-ish.
But it's still usable.
Still usable.
The cabinets, we ask that they be emptied before Liza comes to paint just to make sure we don't get anything on anything. But aside from that, your kitchen is usable. When somebody sprays in the home, basically they're putting a hazmat suit on the kitchen, and your kitchen probably is not going to be usable for 3 to 5 days. And it costs more, quite honestly, because it takes more time, takes more product. The way we do it, there's no dust, there's no anything in the house. There's really no smell, and the kitchen is very usable. Even when people do new counters, the company that we work with, they come in on the day that they're scheduled to install the new. They remove the old, they put the new in. We come back the next day, we hook up the plumbing. Just because of all the things that we are able to do and the contractors that we have access to, it's just a very smooth process, and there's very little downtime for you being able to use your kitchen in the process of this.
No, that sounds really good, because even if I do them myself, it does take that kind of time. People still run into a week's worth of work, maybe longer. And then you've got all of these things all over your home. That was always the struggle I ran into is kitchen cabinet doors. You don't realize how much space that takes up when you start laying them flat all over the place to work on them. Drying racks can help. You've got drying racks, I'm sure, that eliminate
rolling ones,
minimize the footprint. But when you're doing them yourselves, you're still out a lot of time that you can't use the kitchen exactly the way you always did.
Right.
Like you said, you still can use it to some extent. You still got all these things somewhere. My basement was full of them. It can be inconvenient. It's still inconvenient. 2 weeks isn't too bad to wait through that. I want to get to refacing, but before I do that, real quick, you've mentioned a couple times, either by guess or maybe we've talked about it, but my 80s oak kitchen, my 90s oak kitchen cabinets. That is what I've got. A lot of us have those. I'm curious about the graining. How does the grain look in the end? Do you fill the grain? Do you just let it go? Because sometimes that really porous grain,
right,
when you put a normal coating on that, sometimes you can still see some of that, and people get concerned. They always ask about it, so I'm asking you for them.
Yes. Oak is oak. There is grain. We've had people say, I thought you would sand it. And I said we did, and it was still oak. There is...
We sanded down.
I know. There's really no way around it. What we do is, one of the Envirolac primers that we use is, let me say it like this. An average primer is going to be 19% solid. So basically, once everything is evaporated, 19% of that gallon was solid. Envirolac, I think, is 49 or 51%. So there's a lot more that stays on it. And the 170 Envirolac primer is the primer that we use when we do oak. We do 2 coats of primer on it. There is always still going to be grain. And some of these products that they say that you can use that will fill it, we have never really found that it 100% fills it.
Right.
What we do is, after it's been primed twice, if my prep ladies look at that and say, this would not fly in my house, sometimes the oak grain, it looks like a meat tenderizer has been used on it. We will take Bondo and fill some of that, but we don't ever fill all of it.
Sure.
I tell people, you will still see the texture. There is no way around it. There is no color variation. If you're doing Benjamin Moore White Dove, it is all Benjamin Moore White Dove, but you still see that texture. There's no way around it.
And to make sure everybody's tracking with exactly what you're saying, when you look at your oak cabinet doors now and you see that oak grain and all of that, it's a lot of that. I mean, you see the texture, but also you see a color variation where it's really dark in the grain, and the harder wood is going to be, a little bit lighter in color with that stain. So you see a lot of that variation, and it really jumps out at you. Once it's solid coated and it's one color, a lot of that, it doesn't go away like it's gone, but it visually almost disappears. It's camouflaged.
It is.
Because I notice when I get a lot of, a white or a whatever color on oak cabinets, yes, if you tilt them and look and really dig into it, you're going to see that graining. It's just not going to go away. But when you stand back and look at your kitchen, it's going to look white. It's going to look great. Whatever color you picked, you're not going to see that grain jumping out at you like you did when it was stained.
Yes, I agree.
So, all right, let's talk about refacing, because that's a little different process. What exactly is it, and when is this a really great option? When would somebody want to jump in and do this?
First of all, I'm going to say a lot of people don't understand what refacing is. So I try to look at this from their perspective. I just had a gentleman stop in yesterday, and we were talking, and I said, well, here's the refacing part. And he goes, what's refacing? So if you have, I'm going to use oak again, not trying to hate on oak, but just always make such a good example. You have oak doors. They are not full overlay, so they're just barely covering the opening. You have a lot of the cabinet box portion that's exposed. You've got raised panels and you have arches. But you like the footprint. This is always my question for people, especially when we do the show. If people like their footprint of their kitchen and that is going to stay like it is, and they just really don't care for the dated style of the doors and drawers, they might have exposed hinges. That is when getting new door and drawer fronts made could be a great option. We work with a local company. They are phenomenal. There's a lot of different options for the styles of doors that you can get, but it really gives you a chance to have a truly, truly updated look, because when we do this, we have a very full overlay. There is a tiny little bit of clearance between the doors and drawers, so you really don't see a whole lot of the housing portion. Most people go with some version of a shaker style. You now have hidden soft closing hinges. It's just a really good way to update it. And I know the question always is, yeah, but my boxes are oak. So what about those? Because the faces of them with the new door and drawer fronts are pretty much covered, you really don't see that. Any end caps that are visible, if we prime those once and we can see that oak grain is super, super heavy, we will do like a quick skim coat of something on that, sand it and prime it again.
Just to minimize that grain.
Yes. But I'm going to guess if you were going to reface your kitchen with new custom door and drawer fronts, new quartz counters, have it painted, average size kitchen, and this is just really off the top of my head, I'm going to say maybe $13,000, $14,000. If you gutted that kitchen and replaced it with the same footprint, you're probably looking at $45,000.
So a huge savings compared.
Yeah. And when you think about it, now all of your cabinets are removed, your counters are gone. How long is your house torn up? Do you have to do new floors now? What if you have newer counters and you don't want to replace your counters, but if you gut it, you have to replace your counters. They can't reuse them. This is such a cost-effective way to do things. And the finish that we are able to produce legitimately is better than a factory finish. I live in a condo that is, our condo area is 5, 6 years old. Some of the newer ones, maybe 4 years old. I have friends that have chips in their brand new cabinets already. I don't have chips in mine because I used Envirolac on it. So why not? I guess that would be my question. Why not do it that way? We can make modifications. If somebody has an island and they want it bigger,
I was going to ask that. You can adjust that a little bit?
Sure can, yeah. We have a contractor that we really, really like. We have made a point of surrounding ourselves with great people.
Yeah, that works really, really well. You don't have to have them on staff.
Yeah.
But you've got a great network of experts that you can reach out to.
We do. And I don't think we are any better than the people that we refer. So the gentleman that we refer for modifications, we're very confident that he's doing a great job for our clients. He's treating them well. His prices are fair, etc. So yeah, we can make modifications. We can do that.
So if I don't have a dishwasher, but I want one,
and there's a bank of cabinets that can come out usually. Yes, we did that for a gentleman in Kalamazoo. He's 70 and he said he did not want dishpan hands. He needed a dishwasher.
Yeah.
So we put a dishwasher in for him. If people have cabinets over their stove and they want a trendy hood vent instead, we can do that. Well, not we, but our contractor that we refer.
Sure.
So yes, we can do these things. We can make these modifications. In my own condo, I had 2 banks of cabinets that had a drawer and 2 doors below. And at 59 years old, I'm not in the mood to get on my hands and knees and crawl into the back of that and look.
I spend so much time on my hands and knees, pawing around, trying to find whatever I need in there. And I was going to ask this question. You can turn those into drawers? Is that where you're going?
We did. Yep. Okay. Even in my own condo, we did. It is magical. I have leftover space. So everything that came out of those cabinets is now in those drawers. And the drawers are not totally full.
Yeah, I would imagine that. I'm thinking that through now. I wouldn't it wouldn't be an even swap. I would gain space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of air, a lot of open space in my cupboards that it's not getting used.
Yeah.
Whereas in a drawer, I can pack those babies full.
And you can pull those babies out and get to what you need to without getting on your hands and knees. That is a win-win.
That is a win-win. And I'm so short that, I won't even have to bend over. It's right there. Okay, so all kinds of different things. You answered a bunch of other questions that I had at the end here. Countertops, you can help me with that.
Yep.
All kinds of different materials. I mean, you've got people you work with, right?
Yes, we work with a local company for that. We can do quartz, granite, dolomite, quartzite, all the goods. Wonderful people that we work with. Do a great job. So yes, we can do that.
All right.
And you had asked about hardware at one point, and I did not answer that question. When I come to somebody's home to help with color selection, I have lots and lots of hardware samples with me, so I can help people with that.
Talk about that for a minute, just because that's another one of my little things that I've talked about. I love to talk about from time to time because I painted my kitchen cabinets. I told you about that. I sprayed them all, these long ago. Now I've got oak again in a new house, and I don't know, I'm waiting for it to come back in. But anyway, I painted all these cabinets white. Yeah, abyss kind of a color. It looked great. I was so happy. And because I was cheap, I put the old hardware back on because it was all right. It was all right. And they looked good. But then like a year later, I decided, okay, it's time to get rid of that brass that I had on. And I got something that was more modern at the time. And I was stunned at how expensive it was. All cards on the table here. It took a lot of money to get all of that. And I was really bummed because I'm really cheap, like I said. But I got them on. And it was one of those jobs where when I painted my cabinets the year before, I would just sit in the kitchen and look at them because it was such a big change.
Impressed at how good you did.
Right. When I put just the hardware on, I spent almost as much time staring at the cabinets because it looked brand new again.
Yeah.
It is amazing. Long-winded story to get to the point. Hardware makes a tremendous difference.
It 100% does. Well, how I like doing hardware, and I tell our clients this, but I always tell them as well, your house, your rules. More often than not, they'll just say, you just tell me what you would do, make all your notes and then tell me. I like hardware that is very proportionately sized. So we're doing a project for a client. She's got an island, has 4 drawers, 4 doors, and we're going to have 6 very large drawers, which she's very excited about. The drawers are going to be about 38 inches wide. When I help her select hardware, I'll suggest 12-inch handles because it really, really makes a pop. I like mixing knobs and different size handles. For me, when I help somebody figure stuff out for hardware, I will usually have 4 different sizes because a really small doors over the microwave or the refrigerator might have a knob, or it might have a 3 3/4 inch handle. A pantry door, for me, putting a knob on there says to me, I ran out of money and all I could afford was a knob.
Yeah,
but if you've
got of my house.
If you've got a 5-foot pantry door or 4-foot, then put something like 8 3/4 inch handle on it. It looks so sharp when you're not scared to do that. They're all the same handles. They're just different sizes. And I have yet for somebody to say to me, that just looks weird. The husband usually will be like, okay, so how many sizes are we doing? And when it's done, they will stand back and go, you were right. To which I reply, I know.
Because you're so humble.
Sometimes, but
that's good.
I know it looks really, really good, and I'm never going to force that on anybody, but they're happy with it when it's done.
I think that's really helpful because it isn't something that we do a lot. That's not a thought process that for sure it's not a thought process that everybody out there thinks about. I never thought about that. I would have just bought the same sizes and I would have moved through, and I might not have even known that it looked weird.
You would probably think it looked fine.
Yes.
Until it would be done the Shelly way.
And then I would realize what I had missed out on. Right?
Now I'm not sounding humble at all. But you probably would have looked at that then and went, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Because it truly does make a difference.
So you'll help people with all of that.
Yes.
Yeah. So Shelly Kuipers from Shelly's Kitchen and Design. Let's give out your information if anybody's interested. I think you made a good case for why they might want to get a quote. Let's talk about that first.
Okay.
They get the quote by going
to our website, which is Shelly's Kitchens, and there's a link right up there that says get free quote here. I tell people it'll take you all of maybe 3 minutes to do it. It's that simple.
And then you thought within 24 to 48 hours they've got a quote, they've got all of that information. What's the service area that you'll cover?
Right now, I mean, we are located in Jenison. We do really anything around here. We've done lots of projects in South Haven. We have done a number of projects, Kalamazoo, Portage area. I mean, Cascade, Ada, tons. There is one area in Ada, when I looked it up, it was like one of those courts. There was the north and the south. There's 10 houses on it, and I think we've done 8 of them.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, we're talking to some decorators in Traverse City because it's been requested more than once that we have a presence up there. But, I mean, yeah, really, the West Michigan area, we cover that. We've done, I figured it out the other day with a little help from ChatGPT. I put some stuff in there and I said, help me figure out how many jobs we've done in 15 years. And I'm thinking we've done roughly 3,600 kitchens.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Team of 17 right now, and we do an average of 4 projects a week.
All right. Well, if you want your kitchen to be one of those projects, reach out. Probably, from what I'm hearing, the best way to reach out is to start with that quote,
yes.
Right? So that's on your website.
And I do call each person that requests a price a few days later and just ask what questions they have that I can answer. People do, and sometimes they're intimidated to reach out, and I enjoy chatting with people. So
yeah, I think you'd make it really easy, and just a lot of different, an entire package is what you're presenting here. Everything from helping with the color to getting a product that, like you explained that story where the spray paint,
yes,
can of spray paint blew up, and they were able to wash it off with acetone. Oh my goodness, that's insanity.
It really
and
is.
It still looked good. So a great product, helping with color, helping with hardware. You can connect people to experts who get countertops installed, make minor modifications to the kitchen, all kinds of different things, all in one package. So, yeah, what's that website one more time?
It is Shelly, so SHELLYS kitchens.com.
All right. I'll put links to all of that in the show notes. You do kitchens. You also do bathroom cabinets, right?
We really specialize in cabinets. So anything cabinet related, yes, we do that. We have people we can refer for walls, but our niche specifically is cabinets of any sort.
Perfect. So if you've got any cabinets and you want to at least get a quote, just get an idea.
Yes.
If Shelly sold you on her system, her product, and all of that, reach out. I'll put links in the show notes. Shelly, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And that's going to do it for this episode of Home in Progress. I want to thank Shelly Kuipers from Shelly's Kitchens and Designs for joining me and for sharing not just, the technical side of refinishing and refacing, but also the heart of a 3-generation family business. Now, if you've been wondering whether or not your dated oak kitchen can be saved or if refacing might be a smarter path than a full remodel, go see what Shelly's team is doing at shellyskitchens.com. I'll drop all the links in the show notes, including a direct link to their free quote form. Now, as always, this podcast is brought to you by RepcoLite Paints and Benjamin Moore. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure that you follow or subscribe to Home in Progress wherever you get your podcasts. And that way you'll never miss an episode. All right, have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you next time. I'm Dan Hansen. Thanks for listening.